So, good morning, friends. Today we have discussed the pre-stressed concrete types and its application. I am Dr. Subhash Patankar, presently working as a professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, Sanjeevani College of Engineering, Kopargaon. Now, in the first two lecture, we have discussed the syllabus and the comparison between the pre-stressed concrete and the RCC reinforcement concrete and the brief history of the pre-stressed concrete. Now in pre-stressed concrete, we use the high strength material. Both materials are high strength concrete as well as high strength steel. Now, if you see the why we use this, first reason is high tension wires are used. The yield strength is more than 1200 Newton per mm square, and here it is observed that the loss of stress in steel, which is about 100 to 240 MPa, that means as good as Fe 250. So this is the to compensate all these losses, it is necessary to use the high strength steel. That's why we use the high tension wire. Second, high strength concrete is used. Why? For the pre-tensioning, we use the M40 grade, and for the post-tensioning, we use the M30 grade. Because high strength concrete offer number one, high resistance in tension, number two, shear resistance, bond and the bearing, less liable to shrinkage, cracks, higher modulus of velocity and smaller ultimate grip strength, and that's why we use the high strength concrete. Also reduce the cross-sectional dimension of the structural elements. That means the economy point of view, we can use the high strength concrete as well as high strength steel. Now, pre-stressing steel, we have discussed the whatever the material we have used. The development of pre-stressed concrete was influenced by the invention of high strength steel. It is an alloy of iron, carbon, manganese and optional materials. In addition to pre-stressing steel, conventional non-pre-stressed reinforcement is used for flexural capacity, shear capacity, temperature and shrinkage requirement. That means some reinforcement is needed in pre-stressed concrete also. Now, some examples are we use the wires, high tension wires. These are the bundles of the high tension wire, single unit. This is called as the strand. That means the multiple wires are bound in one unit. That's why it is called a strand. The strand may be consist of 2 wire, 3 wire or 7 wires in the form of pre-stressing strand. This is called as the strand, single wire or strand. This is the group of strand or wires are wound to form a pre-stressing tendon. This total is called as the tendon. This is called as the total tendon. There are number of the cables or wires. A group of tendon form a pre-stressing cable. If there are number of tendons are provided in a group, then it is called as the cable. Tendon can be made up of a single steel bar. It is also called can be made up of the wire or single steel bar. The diameter of bar is much larger than the wire. So these are the different steel, or we can say that the wires or high tension steel used in the pre-stressing. Now, what are the advantages of pre-stressing? First is the section remains uncracked under service load due to application of initial compressive stresses to the concrete. Whatever the cracks develop due to thermal, or we can say that the emission of the heat, these will be arrested. Reduction of steel corrosion. That's why if there is no cracks or reduce the cracks, definitely there is a less chance of the corrosion. Full section is utilized. In case of the RCC, full section is not utilized. We can use the effective section, and also concrete below the neutral axis, which is in tension zone, not considered. That's why we have considered hardly 40% material concrete as effective. But in case of the prestressed concrete, 100% concrete is effective, utilized. Higher moment of inertia, because of that we get the higher moment of inertia, that means the higher stiffness, less deformation, that means improve the serviceability or durability, increase in shear capacity due to application of the or introduction of the compressive stress. The shear capacity of the section is increased. Suitable for use in pressure vessels, liquid retaining structures, that means there is the least chance for the leakage due to crack arresting. Improve performance, that is the resilience under dynamic and fatigue loading. Repeated loading, this is also the good for the repeated application of the load. Second, high span to depth ratios due to application of the high tension wire, due to introduce the compressive stresses in the concrete before application of load, we can take the benefit high span to depth ratio. That means the span is maybe up to 400 meter also or more than that, but the depth is less, which is not possible in RCC. Largest span possible with prestressing, that is a bridge building with large column free spaces. Third one, suitable for the precast construction. For the rapid construction, that is the electric poles are there, railway sleepers are there. Better quality control, we can control all these things. Reduce maintenance, suitable for repetitive construction. Same molds we can use repeatedly. Availability of standard shape, we can easily available the standard shape of the prestressing elements. Now, what are the limitations? There are certain limitations. Prestressing needs skilled technology. Skilled labors are needed, skilled technology is needed, machinery is required like hydraulic jack. Hence, it is not as common as reinforced concrete. That's why it is not common. The use of high strength material is costly. The cost of the concrete as well as the cost of the strand, or we can say that wire, is costlier than the conventional Fe 415 500 or 250 grade of steel reinforcements. There is additional cost in auxiliary equipment. Some other equipments are needed for the prestressing work. There is need for quality control and inspection. Quality control is very important in prestressing, and inspection is also very important. These are the limitations in prestressing. Now, what are the different types of prestressing? Basically, when we broadly classified, we can see that the one is the pre-tensioning system and second is the post-tensioning. But depending on the different applications, we have subdivided into prestressing. First, on the basis of source of prestressing force, hydraulic prestressing. This is the simple type of prestressing producing large prestressing force. The hydraulic jack used for the tensioning of tendons comprises of calibrated pressure gauge which directly indicate the magnitude of force developed during the tensioning. Second one is the mechanical prestressing. In this type of prestressing, the device include weights with or without lever transmission, generated transmission in the conjunction with pulley blocks, screw job with or without gear drive, and wire winding machines. This type of prestressing is adapted for mass scale production. Third one, electrical prestressing. In this type of prestressing, the steel wires are electrically heated. Instead of mechanically anchored, it is electrically heated, and due to expansion, it develops the trusses and anchor before placing the concrete in the mold. This type of prestressing is also known as the thermoelectric prestressing. Now, next is this is the another classification or type, that is the external and the internal prestressing. Now, the external or internal prestressing. External prestressing, when the prestressing is achieved by elements located outside the concrete, it is called as the external prestressing. The tendons can lie outside the member, for example, in case of the eye girders or wall, or inside the hollow space of the box girder This technique is adopted in bridges and strengthening of building. In the following figure, we can see the box girder. This is the box girder, external prestressing of the box girder. These are the prestressing wires, or we can say that the tendons. And using this, we have truss, and this is the hollow portion, that is the box girder. Now, internal prestressing, when the prestressing is achieved by elements located inside the concrete member, commonly by embedded tendons. It is called external prestressing. Most of the application of the prestressing are internal prestressing. These are the prestressing wires which is provided in the concrete section before casting, and these are the tendons in the box girder. Now, as I told you, actually there are two main classification or type. First is the pre-tensioning and second is the post-tensioning, and depending on the different members, we have used the external prestressing, internal prestressing, circular prestressing, like that. Now, what is pre-tensioning? The tension is applied to the tendon before casting of the concrete. The compression is transmitted from steel to concrete through bond over the transmission length near the ends. The following figure shows we can show the examples of the pre-tensioning. These are the example electric poles. Now, post-tensioning, the tension is applied to the tendon located in the duct after hardening of concrete. The pre-compression is transmitted from steel to concrete by the anchorage device at the end blocks. The following figure shows the post-tensioning. This is the box girder, and these are the means of prestressing. Tendons are there, and after hardening or after desired curing period, we can tension this girder. That is called as the post-tensioning method. Now again, we have classified the prestressing. Linear prestressing, when the prestress member are straight or flat, as in case of slab, in the direction of prestressing, the prestressing is called linear prestressing. For example, prestressing of beam, piles, pole, slab, etc. The profile of the prestressing tendon may be curved. The following figure shows the linear prestressing. These are the railway sleepers. Of course, this is the pre-tensioning method, and linear, that means the straight tendons are provided. Circular prestressing, when the prestress members are curved, as in case of the water tank. In that case, circumferential prestressing of tank, silos, pipe, and similar structure will go for the circular prestressing. This is the example of circular prestressing. This dome is prestressed with the help of prestressing. Similarly, full prestressing, limited prestressing, and the partial prestressing. Full prestressing, when the level of the prestressing is such that no tensile stresses is allowed in concrete under service load. It is called as the full prestressing. That means before application of load, stress at the bottom is 0. There is no stress. Then it is called as the full prestressing. Limited prestressing, when the level of the prestressing is such that the tensile stress under service load is within the cracking stress of the concrete. It is called as the limited prestressing. That means certain negative stress may be developed in the concrete before application of load. That's why limited prestressing. Partial prestressing, when the level of the prestressing is such that under tensile stresses due to the service load, the crack width is within the allowable limit. Tensile stresses definitely greater than limited prestressing, but the crack width of the crack is within the allowable limit as per IS. So this is called as the partial prestressing. Now similarly, again sub classification: uniaxial prestressing, biaxial prestressing, and multi-axial prestressing. When the prestressing tendons are parallel to one axis, only one direction, then it is called as the uniaxial prestressing. Examples are the longitudinal prestressing of beam, railway sleepers, like that. Biaxial prestressing, when there are prestressing tendons parallel to two axes, It is called as the biaxial pre-stressing. We can say that the slab, two-way slab, we can provide the tendon along x direction, along y direction. Multi-axial pre-stressing, when the pre-stressing tendons are parallel to more than two axes, it is called as the multi-axial pre-stressing. Examples are the dome. In case of circular domes, water tank, we can go for the multi-axial pre-stressing. Now, what are the advantages? The relative advantage of pre-tensioning as compared to the post-tensioning. Pre-tensioning is suitable for precast members products in bulk. Mass production, pre-tensioning is suitable, and the small elements. In post pre-tensioning, large anchorage device is not present, and that's why for the large production, mass production, we use the pre-tensioning. Now, what are the disadvantages? The pre-stressing bed is required for the pre-tensioning operation. There is a waiting period in the pre-stressing bed before the concrete attains sufficient strength. There should be good bond between the concrete and steel over the transmission length. Then we go to the, these are the some disadvantages of the pre-tensioning method. These are the wires placed in the mold, and then after that concreting is done. This is the pre-tension. Stretching of stand, pouring of concrete, steam curing chamber, that is the precast element, railway sleepers, demolding of the, this is under the pre-tensioning method. Now, post-tensioning system and devices. Post-tensioning is generally used for the big girders, large span girders, slab like that. The various stages of the post-tensioning operation: casting of concrete, placing of the tendons, placing of the anchorage block and jack, applying the tension to the tendon, setting of the wedges, and cutting of the tendons. This is the process involved in the post-tensioning. Advantages of the post-tensioning. The relative advantage is number one, it is suitable for heavy cast in place members, big girders, basically in case of bridge. The waiting period in the cast bed is less. Waiting period is less in case of the pre-tensioning, waiting period is more. The transfer of the pre-stress is independent of the transmission length. These are the few advantages. Now, these are the few devices which is used generally for the post tensioning. This is the wedges, this is the anchor unit, this is the strand, application of the strand. These are the unit again, that is the which is used in the end block or the pre-stressing. Tensioning of the anchor, this is the wedge bob to arrange the tension or to take the, to lock these tendons. This is the pre-stressing done for the slab, unbonded slab post tensioning. These are the few photographs taken from the Wikipedia. You can also see this. Sydney Opera House in 1973, of course, pre-stress. Ocean height to Dubai, the height is 335 meter, into the constructed in 2016. Capital Gate, Abu Dhabi, 180 meter thin. See the beauty. Due to the pre-stressing, the angle is about 18 degree. It will be tilted like this. Then these are the cantilever bridge. Span is more than 30 meter, but still there is no problem because of the pre-stressing. This is the girders, big girders, post tensioning. Thank you. Now, next lecture we have discussed what are the different concepts used for the analysis of the pre-stress concrete. Thank you. Stay safe at home. Thank you.